Oh, maybe I didn't push start streaming.
Yeah, that would do it.
Oh, okay. Um, I'm sorry. I'm here. I've been talking for the last 15 minutes to a stone wall. So we're going to start all over again. Okay, I apologize. I'm here. You can hear me now, I think. Right? Um, and I'm really sorry that it's late. So the title today is Senior Stress and Debt. Okay? Um, and maybe I didn't click the right button because I've been stressed. I don't know. If you have any questions, put them in the chat feature. My name's Eric, attorney now for maybe too long, 46 years. And I probably fouled up today. I forgot to click the right button. Turn up the volume. I'm talking right into the microphone. It's as loud as I can get it. It might be could be your phone. Does anyone else? Um, okay, we're just going to see if we can fix this.
Just keep talking. I'm handling it. Just don't move your mouse.
You're going to turn up the volume?
I'm actively working on it. You just gotta let me take control.
Okay, right. So the topic today is we're going to get the volume turned up. Okay? Okay, we'll see if that's working. Maybe you can hear now. He's working on it. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, the volume up so you can hear me okay here in a second. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let us know if you can hear me okay. Now it's good. Sounds like it. Thank you, tech guy Derek. Good. So we're going to start over again. Apologize for the delay. A lot of people don't watch this live, they watch it later. So you're going to be able to see this. Okay. So the title for today's topic is Senior Stress and Debt. Okay. And I just want to talk about stress and debt because I talk to a lot of seniors that are stressed with debt. First, I want you to know if you have debt that you're having difficulty paying, um, turn it up more, they say, Derek. If you have difficulty paying debt, you're not alone, okay? Almost one half of seniors have incomes within 200% of the poverty line. They're classified as economically vulnerable. Even if you're at the poverty line, you can still make more money than that and still have difficulty paying debt. In fact, I don't care how much money you make. For a lot of people, no matter how much it is, it's not enough. But half of seniors are classified as economically vulnerable. So you're not alone. First thing you need to understand is that your income is protected. Your Social Security, your pension, your disability, your VA benefit, all forms of retirement, IRA, 401k, that's all protected. Okay? Because your income is protected, no one can take it. You probably don't need debt settlement or debt management. If you were signed up with a debt management company and they never told you, or a debt settlement company, that your income was protected, you weren't given complete information. Why weren't you told that? Well, if they would have told you that your income was protected, you could have decided you didn't need their help, and you wouldn't sign up with them, and therefore they wouldn't be making money off you. Okay? We're trying to get the sound turned up as I talk. Okay? So your income is protected. Now, the other reason you don't need to stress or worry is that I can't read my answers here. You don't need to stress and worry is because, well, laws protect your income. They can't be taken, okay? There's a federal law called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Move the big desk mic up closer. It's not going through your headset. How's that? Is that working? I don't know where my headset's not working. Can you hear me now? My headset's not plugged in? Well, it should be. How's that? How's this? Is that better? Looks like it's better now. Okay. Apologize. Okay. Another reason why you don't need to worry is get my thing turned around here now. Is that there's means to stop debt collector harassment. There's a law passed in 1974 called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act that provides if you're represented by an attorney, debt collectors have to leave you alone. They have to communicate. They can't call or send you demand letters anymore. They have to leave you alone. And that's what HELPS does. That law also provides if you're represented by an attorney, debt collectors have to leave you alone. So we send out letters to the people you owe money to. They can no longer legally call you or send you demand letters anymore. Okay? Now, what happens if you don't pay the debt and if they sued you? Well, there's even a law passed in 2012 that provides that if someone sues you and gets a judgment, that twice the amount of your federal benefits deposited in your bank account is automatically protected by your bank from garnishment, regardless of what other funds are in there. So if you got $1,000 in Social Security, $2,000 is protected automatically in the bank account. Okay, that's a reason not to stress. Okay, and there's another reason not to stress. It's they're not going to take your home. They're not going to take your car. They're not going to take your other assets. Every state, virtually every state, has what's called our exemption laws that protect a certain amount of equity in property. Okay, now even if you have property in your state that's over your state exemption law, it's not the practice of consumer judgment creditors to go after that property. They don't do it for a variety of reasons. Okay, so if you get sued and you owe the money, you don't have to go to court. If you're a HELPS client, we're going to send a letter to the attorney who sued you, let them know that you can't afford to pay the debt. They can get a judgment, remind them of the protected nature of your bank account. We don't even need to do that because it's protected no matter what. Okay, so Helps has answers to your questions. We don't want you to sit home and be stressed or worried. You pick up the phone and you call, always. That's why Helps was founded. Before I started Helps, I did thousands of bankruptcies. And seniors would come in and I'd tell them, you don't need to worry, but the problem is you don't need to file bankruptcy. They couldn't afford to file bankruptcy. But I knew when I sent them home, the creditors were going to call them and make their lives miserable. So Helps was started so we could stop the creditors from calling the seniors, and the senior would always have someone to call. That's why when you enroll in Helps, it's not just a one-time thing. It's literally forever. So you can always call us. And then I was going to conclude with this. Some people are natural born worrywart. They worry no matter what. So sometimes I'll tell people, let's talk about the worst thing that could happen. And the worst thing, you get sued, you get a judgment. They could try to garnish your bank account if maybe they can't take anything out of it, as I explained. They're not going to take your other property. We're going to go over it in detail why you don't need to worry. So if you're tempted to worry again, if you wake up in the middle of the night after we talk, a couple of days later, a week later, just remember about the time we talked with our staff or me or whoever, where we explained why you were going to be okay. You understood then why you didn't need to worry. So you can say to yourself then, I don't need to worry. I've been through this. I've already hashed this out. I realize I'm going to be okay. And you can pick something else to worry about. I don't want you to worry about this step. Okay? So don't want you to worry, and I'll try to get to your questions here. Sorry for the confusion at the beginning. I'm scrolling back and looking here. Tank 23 asks, I talked to someone this morning about Javich Block sending me discovery submissions and interrogatories in the mail. Looking forward. Yeah, we'll go over that with you. Nothing to be concerned about. You got to realize debt collectors, they don't have to tell you about your rights. All they have to say, we're a debt collector. Any information we get can be used for that purpose. And sometimes they use a lawsuit and things associated with a lawsuit to intimidate a senior, to worry, to think that they're going to get their money taken from them or their assets, to try to get them to call them on the phone to make arrangements to make payments. And once again, if you've made an arrangement to make payments to a debt collector as part of a lawsuit, you could stop paying it if your income, Social Security, and a pension. We'll go over this with you. So SETI says, Eric got signed up with your office yesterday, and within 30 minutes you had already sent response to the debtor for me. Cannot tell you what a relief it is knowing you have our back. Thank you. Yeah, I always tell people within 20 to 48 hours after getting your creditors, we're going to send a cease and desist letter. In this case, we did it within 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, so Barbara says, she says, they call incessantly stating that I'm eligible for federal debt reduction loan to $50,000 to $85,000. There is a federal debt reduction program with an approaching deadline. It's a scam call. It's a scam call. They're trying to get you signed up with some type of program to pay debt, to get you to pay money that you don't have to pay, Barbara. You don't have to do that. There's so many scams out there when it comes to seniors. But remember, if you're a senior or disabled and you're getting Social Security and pension and projected income like a VA benefit, 401k, IRA, your money's safe. You don't need to use it to pay debt you can't afford to pay. Okay. Hi, Eric. This is Martin. I talked to about Bank of America lawyers sending me post-judgment discovery admissions and interrogatories. Look forward. Yeah, we'll go over that with you. Like I just mentioned, sometimes they do, with artificial intelligence, they can just push a button and you get sent some of these legal papers, but you're not going to need to worry. Kathy says, Eric, just to let you know that the landlord letter that you sent out is great. I used it again this year, and because of this letter, the manager of our complex did not even raise my rent. Oh, bless her heart. Good. Yeah. What that landlord is, if you know what that is, we have a form letter called, we call it the landlord letter. We'll send it to anyone where they're a member of Helps that explains to a prospective landlord that even if you have poor credit because of debt you can't pay, No one can take your Social Security or your pension. It's protected. It will always be available to pay rent. A lot of landlords don't know that. You know, they might worry about a younger person that's working that could get garnished and might have a difficulty paying their rent because they're being garnished and money's being taken from them. That won't happen to a senior. Okay? So good. I'm glad that works for you, Kathy. It makes me feel good. We want to help people. Okay? So a person calls us from Ohio and they're saying, I'm age 66 on Social Security with no assets. No, I have rent. No, my vehicle is shot. I have 15,000 in credit card debt, which I'm having difficulty paying. I have no savings. I was told to contact you for help. Sure, call us if you're in that situation on Social Security, pension, disability, VA benefit, whatever, and you got debt you can't afford to pay. Give us a call. We'll go over your situation. Um, and call us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Look at all our videos. We can send you information. We want you to feel comfortable. And if you decide you need our help, you can call. We don't turn anyone away that needs the help we provide. And if there's a cost, it's very minimal. Okay. Person contacts us from Minnesota. I'm on Social Security disability. I defaulted on 2 credit cards. My health took a turn for the worse a year ago, and I can't afford to pay them anymore. I have no other income, no assets, no card, no property. I need help on what to do. You don't need to pay the credit cards. Your Social Security is protected. It's available for your needs. We'll talk to you about if you have medical debt. We'll talk to you about your other situations as well. See, not only do we protect seniors from and disabled persons from collector harassment, our second mission is to educate seniors how they can maintain their financial independence. So if there's other problems in your life financially, we can go over those things and give you information about that. Could be helpful for you. That's one reason we have that landlord letter that I just talked about. I'm being sued. This person contacts us from Illinois. I'm being sued for credit card debt by American Express. My only income is Social Security. I saw your video about not having to pay it. I'm 76 and barely making it each month as I have a mortgage. What can I do? We don't need to pay it, and you can call us. We'll go over your situation with you. If you want our help, we can sign you up. We'll send a letter to American Express. If you've been sued, we're going to let them know that you're not going to go to court. You can't afford to pay it. We're going to call you, explain to you why your assets are protected, and you're going to be okay. So call us. Even if you're buying a home, we can give you information that's going to be able to help you. So this person contacts us from Missouri. I have significant credit card debt along with other debt that I can't afford to pay. I'm an 81-year-old widow and not able to work any longer. I need help. Okay. Well, that's the person we help. I don't care if you're 61, 71, 81, 91. If you have debt that you can't afford to pay, you can contact us, and we're going to help you so these creditors leave you alone and you don't have to stress and worry. Even if you've been sued, even if you've already been sued and you made an arrangement to pay them, you can stop paying it. We can help you even if you owe taxes and you're worried about that. If you have a student loan, we can help you on that. If you got a car you can't afford, we can help you on that. Person contacts us from Texas. I am on Social Security and able to continue to pay my debt. Well, we're going to be able to help you. You don't need to worry. Your income's okay. Can they put a lien on or take my home due to credit cards? I don't live in it. It's not livable, but there's some land with it. I'm disabled, and I live on very limited income. Well, first off, no, they're not going to take your home. You're not living in it. You don't need to worry about the debt. Can they put a lien on it? If they sue and get a judgment, it possibly could be a lien, but they're not going to try to foreclose on it. That would be highly unlikely. Okay, and we'll go over that. So Tank asks, is the burden on us to prove our only income is Social Security, or will the bank tell the creditor? Well, no, it's not on you. What happens if someone sues you and gets a judgment, which frankly itself is not that likely, it could happen, and they happen to know where your bank, which is not that easy to know, but if they did, if your bank gets a writ of garnishment, then there's a department in the bank that deals with garnishments, not your bank manager, because he doesn't understand the rule, but the department in the bank does. This rule, in effect since 2012, tells the bank that they have to look at where your money came from. And if it came from a federal source, then they times that times two, what you get each month times two, and they automatically protect that sum without you having to do anything at all. You don't need to tell the bank that. They know what to do. Bank and credit, they're going to protect it. So it's now, if you happen to have more money than that in your account, the balance is protected. You just have to file a claim of exemption to get the excess release. Most people tell me, well, Eric, I never have more than twice the amount of my Social Security in my account at any one time. Then if that's the case, don't worry. It's going to be okay. They're not going to take it. Okay. But once again, you know, with helps, you can always call us if you have a question. You're not our client one time. You're literally our client forever. Okay. We don't want you to worry or stress. Like the topic for today is seniors stress, seniors debt and stress. We don't want you stressing. Okay. If you're ever stressed after you're a helps client, you call us right then so we can go over this with you so you can become unstressed and realize you don't need to worry about it. And look at some of these comments where people have enrolled in helps and they know now that they don't need to worry about this and they can always call. So here's a question. What is considered an old debt? Well, sometimes I always say, we can help you with your old debts. It doesn't matter how old the debt is when you enroll in helps. If we have 5 people contact us, maybe one's being sued, 3 or 4 are behind, maybe 1 out of 5 is completely current on everything. And maybe they incurred a debt a week ago, last month, but they finally realized they can't afford to pay it. It doesn't matter how old the debt is. Okay? Now, when you enroll in helps, one of the questions we're going to ask you is, do you have a credit card with a small balance or nothing is owed that you still want to keep? It's not unusual for a senior to have a credit card that they want to keep paying on for whatever reason. And if you want to do that, you can, as long as that credit card isn't backed by a bank with whom you have another credit card you're not going to pay. So you can still keep a credit card when you're in helps. Bankruptcy, you can't do that. In bankruptcy, they subscribe to a service that lets them know if someone filed bankruptcy and they're going to cut your credit card even if you owe them nothing. Okay? So old debt, new debt, doesn't matter. Here's one. They asked on one of our videos, would Raymond and Flanagan place a lien on a new couch? And I didn't know who Raymond and Flanagan was, so I Googled it, and apparently it's a big chain grocery furniture store. So when you buy a piece of furniture on time, it's common for that furniture company to retain a security interest on the furniture you bought. It's called a purchase money security interest. Okay, that means as you bought the item, they retain a security interest on it. Now, if you don't pay it, are they going to come out and repossess the couch? They might try to come out there. I mean, if you turn it over to them, you could, but they may not. If it's a year old or something like that, they're probably not going to bother with it. I mean, technically, you don't even have to let them in your house. So that's called a purchase money security interest. There's another type of security interest. Some high interest lenders will, when you make a loan, they'll have you fill out a form and list certain items of property. And that's called that they claim as a security interest for the loan that you get with them. That's called a non-purchase money security interest. In other words, that security interest is you give items in certain pieces of property like a computer, a TV, dining room table, lawnmower, whatever, couch, whatever. You give them a security interest in that to pay the debt. And why do they do that? Well, they do that is they want you to think that if you don't pay the debt, they're going to come pick up the items. Are they going to come and pick up the items? No. If they were, do you have to let them in? No. If you happen to sell or the item got thrown away, security interest goes away. It's mostly used to intimidate you thinking that you've got to pay that debt. Are they going to come pick up your dining room or your refrigerator or your washer and dryer? We won't do that, okay? You can always call and talk to us about that kind of thing. Okay. Raymond and Flanagan. So, hello, I just have a question. I am disabled and my house is paid off, and I live in Florida. Is there any way to stop paying property taxes that keep going up? I'm afraid I'm going to lose my home because of property taxes and being harassed by code enforcement. Well, yeah, no matter where you live, many states have different laws to either lower, reduce, or eliminate property taxes for seniors over a certain age and under a certain income. Florida is one of those states. So you could type in your state, your county, property taxes reductions for seniors, and there's going to be the internet's going to pop up with some websites that's going to tell you what to do and how to do it. Sometimes if you had a home with a lot of equity in it and you had property taxes, you could look into what's called a reverse mortgage, which could provide to pay for your property taxes too. We talk about reverse mortgages here. Sometimes it helps. I don't sell them, but I know a lot about them, and for some people, they're an answer to prayer. Okay. So, person writes in, how about California state owed back taxes? Does California, and they put a question mark. If you owe income taxes to your state, they cannot take your Social Security or your pension. It's protected. It's even protected in your bank account up to twice the amount, as I explained earlier. Okay. So the rules that protect your income, your retirement income from debt collectors for credit cards applies to state tax collectors as well. Now, is a state tax collector that calls you on the phone going to tell you that? I don't think so. But it's protected. Okay. So this person calls us or contacts and they say, I owed, this is on a question on one of our videos. It says, I owed $1,600 to the IRS and they took $286 a month out of my federal retirement without prior notice. I got a letter from the Treasury Department a week after it was done each month. I'm 81 years old and I have over 50 letters from the IRS and none was a warning of garnishment. Okay. So this was my answer to this person. It is legal, however, very uncommon for the IRS to set off a pension income. Where you don't receive Social Security but a federal pension, then yes, they could set off 15%. Sometimes people don't get notices because of an address change or otherwise. IRS procedures are quite clear that they must give notice of intent to offset before that happens. 60 days notice. The amount they were deducting indicates that you very likely could have qualified for non-collectible now status. But if persons don't know about that option, the set-off continues. That is one reason that we're publishing these. We talk about these on these videos. Okay. And then if you do owe taxes and you do want to pay them, I mean, you could pay them over 5 or 6 years with ours. Get on their website and pay a very small amount. But a lot of our clients that owe federal income taxes, if they only get income and Social Security and it's a small amount, they probably don't need to do anything. The IRS is unlikely to try to take any money. But if they were, they give you a 60-day notice of intent to do that. Then you can call IRS and apply for it and get on what's called currently not collectible status. So if you have income, you're a single person, you have income $2,500 or less, or $35 or $3,500 or less. If you're a couple, it's likely you can get on currently not collectible status, so you don't have to pay the taxes. Okay. So, person asks, what about personal things, maybe antiques that was given to you? What about collectors? Can they get what they want to settle a debt owed? Okay. In 46 years of practice, since 1978, tens of thousands of bankruptcies, and helped since 2012. I've never seen a judgment creditor go after a person's furniture or personal property. Taxes, antiques, I don't care what it is. They don't do it. It's too difficult and complicated. And, your antiques, you might think they're worth a lot, but they really aren't. Okay? They're not going to take they're not going to take your collectibles. They're not going to, or your antiques. Here's a person. They said, I had a Discover card that went into debt collection. I actually was sued and had to go before a judge. Discover had me so scared that I agreed to pay and told the judge what we had agreed on. This was before I knew my rights and that my Social Security income was protected. I've been paying monthly until my lot rent increased to almost what my Social Security check was. I told Discover the fact that I have electricity to pay, but should I tell them that I know my rights now and that I shouldn't have agreed to the payment in the first place, or should I just let it be? No, you don't need to tell them. You just stop paying it. At the hearing, at the very end, the judge said he didn't want to see me again if I didn't pay. Shame on that judge. If the judge had any brains or was any set of wisdom, he could ask, well, what's your source of income, sir? Well, okay, I'm not making a ruling here, but you should understand that your income is protected. You don't need to pay this debt. Okay, but there's all kinds of judges. He may not even know him. Okay, I wish I had spoken up then and said that only income got was Social Security. But I was a complete mess during the hearing, and I was lucky to even remember my name. Well, you don't need to go to court. If someone sues you, you're not going to have to appear in front of a judge like this guy. This guy voluntarily went to do that. He didn't need to do it. When I was reading up on things afterwards, that yes, well, they can sue you and win, but they can't ever collect if you receive any type of income that can't be touched. Really, you don't even have to acknowledge the fact that you're being sued. Is that true? Yes. That's what I've been saying. You don't need to go to court. What about any income that you get, like if you're selling something? Can that be taken? No. As long as you keep the balance in your bank account less than twice the amount of your federal benefit. If someone were to sue you and get a judgment, they tried to garnish your bank account, your bank will protect automatically, no matter the source, twice the amount of federal benefits you get each month from the bank, from the Social Security, or a VA benefit, or a federal pension, or a railroad retirement, which is federal pension, or post office retirement, which is a federal pension. Sometimes I have puppies to sell, and I'm assuming if I put that money in my bank account, it can't be taken. It can't, as long as it's less than twice the amount of your Social Security you get each month. There's a way to protect that money. Just keep it less than twice the amount, or keep it in cash. They can't take it. Okay. So look back here. Say Jeffrey asked, can they put a lien on my home because of credit cards? It's not much, but I did inherit, and I'm 63 and disabled. Thank you. God bless. You too. Well, if someone were to sue you and get a judgment in the county where you live, it could technically be a lien on the home. But depending on the state where you live, it may be meaningless, but they're not going to take your home. You don't need to worry about that. Okay? If you had someone else's name to the title with you on the home, you own it jointly with survivorship rights, then someone were to sue you and get a judgment, then if you pass away before that other person, when you die, the property will go to that other person, maybe your son or your daughter, or your son and your daughter, and the judgment lien disappears if you had them added on before someone gets a judgment. Okay? So you can always call and talk to us about that, Jeff. Okay. So this person contacts us from Missouri. She is concerned. When her mother used our services, they kept calling Eventually they stopped, but eventually they kept calling. Well, they will for, got to give them a few days to get a week or 2 or 3 or 4 to get our letters and process it. It takes sometimes it takes a week for a letter to get across town with the post service now. So it takes a while for them, and then they've got to put it in their system. A few creditors sued mom, and Discover was able to get money from her savings account. Well, if they got money from her savings account, it's because she didn't listen to us because we told her not to put money in a savings account, just to keep her money in the account to which Social Security was deposited. So I expect if they got money from the savings account, it could have been only 10 or 15 bucks. Okay. We went over what we do. This is some notes from one of our paralegals. And bank account protection. And the person said they're going to review all our emails and they'll call back later to enroll. And then they called back in February. And she was being sued by Discover. They sent a garnishment order. She had $200 in her savings account and they did take it. Is her Social Security protected? Yes. Is her bank account that had her Social Security into deposit protected? Yes. And elaborated on the exact amount for the protected amount. Is her car protected? Reassured her that she does not have to worry with the vehicle. And then she called again. Reassured her regarding a debt matter. Only income is Social Security and she needs assistance with debt relief. She didn't mention about having previously spoken with the office regarding the matter. But we talked to her. We found out who she was. Concerned about mom's bank account because she's listed as a joint owner. Mom's Social Security income might be changed because she's moving into a care facility, wants to get contact. So it doesn't matter who's on the bank account. As long as Social Security or federal benefits is deposited on in the bank account, twice that sum is protected, no matter whose name is on the account. Got it? Doesn't matter. The bank has, if they get rid of garnishment, there's a department in the bank that deals with garnishments. They look at the bank, your bank account, and if federal benefit went into there, they times that times 2. It doesn't irregardless of who else is on the bank account with you. Now, if you had 2 Social Securities going in that account, like a husband and wife, then add those 2 up together times 2. That amount is protected automatically from garnishment. Richard talks about getting a quote for cheap insurance. Yeah, that can, you got to be careful on that kind of stuff. My wife did that, I think last week or the week before, on some Medicare supplement plan. Oh my gosh, she's been getting calls all day long from different people. Okay. Person contacts is from West Virginia. Husband just recently passed away a few days ago. And before that, they were making minimum payments on the credit cards. And she knows she won't be able to pay them anymore. She's current on the credit cards. Doesn't drive. Heat pump is broken. They have a pellet stove. She's going to get her husband's Social Security. I think his Social Security was $2,400 and hers was $800. So, if your spouse dies, you're going to get the higher of the 2 Social Securities. She's worried about protection of her home. The home wasn't worth a whole lot, and it looks like she's going to add her daughter to the home with rights of survivorship. So she's going to be fine. She doesn't need to worry. So We had a problem at the beginning. I'm just going to go on for a few more minutes, okay, if you don't mind. Person contacts us from Nevada, owns a mobile home on rented land, owns a car outright, has credit card debt, IRS debt, and owes money to the SBA that he says he doesn't mind continuing to pay. May not need to pay that. But anyway, we enrolled him at a discounted fee, answered his questions, told him not to worry. See, we don't turn people away. You know, the cost to enroll in helps is minimal, and we make it work for people. We don't see when you enroll in helps, you don't have to pay these creditors you owe money to. You stop paying them. And then the way helps is designed nowadays is you make payments normally for 24 months, and it gets cut in half. Like for example, the most a person would pay would be like 40 for 24 months, $40, and then $20 for 24 months, free thereafter. But then you're literally our client forever. Okay. So this will be my last one. Person contacts us from California. They're struggling with credit card debt. Um, someone told her about us, and she wanted us to send her we have an information packet we send to people, but I tell people you can learn more on the internet about helps from our written packet any day of the week. She does not want to wait for the info packet. She's ready to enroll now. She doesn't have an email. Says she gets confused easily and will lose her train of thought. She told us that. She has a caregiver that is assisting with keeping her on task. So that's the sweet thing about helps. You know, we will, no matter where you're at, we're going to talk to you. We're going to be patient. We're happy to talk with you and a caregiver together, or you and one of the kids. We're happy to talk to a child about a parent's situation. We're going to be able to help you. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So it's Thursday. That's the last day we do YouTube Live, but we're going to do it Monday. Hopefully, I'll have my computer straightened out and I'll know how to push the right button. Shame on me. It was my fault. We had a late start today. God bless. But if you have any questions, be sure and call us. You can look at our website. You can look at our other YouTube videos. You can look at, we have a lot of videos on seniorliving.org on YouTube. Senior Living. You can search Senior Living and then search for the videos from Help. So I've got a couple score there with them. Good ones. So give us a call if you have any questions. God bless. Bye.